Shaw Burke, and I want to welcome you guys back for another episode. Thank you guys for joining me. Today we're going to be talking about how to get whatever you want. And I know some of you guys may be saying, can I really get whatever I want in life? The answer is yes. The reason is we live in a universe that is governed by universal laws. So today we're going to learn about one of those universal laws, the law of attraction. And the law of attraction pretty much states that you attract whatever you want, whether that is consciously or unconsciously. So today I have a guest, and her name is Lorna Sophia Levy. She is the director of the School of Manifesting. She teaches spiritual living, scientific prayer, advanced law of attraction, and prosperity. And she is a teacher, an author of 4 books and 2 on the way. She's a speaker and a minister, and she's an expert in the law of attraction. So she's going to tell us everything we need to know. And by the time you guys finish watching this episode, you're going to know how to get whatever you want. So let's invite Lorna Sophia Levy on.
Hi.
Hi, Lorna.
So good to be here.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
It's my pleasure.
Good. So how was your New Year's? How was your holiday?
Oh, New Year's was wonderful. I
Okay.
set lots of new intentions for myself.
Okay.
And I'm just really looking forward to the new energy that's moving through and changing things and creating new experiences.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So today we're talking about the law of attraction.
Okay.
And like I told them, I titled this show, How to Get Whatever You Want, because I feel like, you know what kind of universe we live in. We can get whatever we want. People don't know this. A lot of people are, I would say, not conscious of the fact that you create your reality and you can really get whatever you want. And you, not knowingly, unconsciously, attract whatever you want. Some things you like and some things you may not like, but
That's very true.
you're attracting all of that stuff.
Absolutely.
So I think people really need to understand how the law of attraction works so that they can maneuver their life in a way that is beneficial to them and not
Okay.
detrimental.
Okay.
So let's talk about what the law of attraction is
Okay.
and how it works. What
All
is
right.
the law of attraction and how does it work?
That's a good place to start.
Okay.
Law of attraction is a natural law,
Okay.
like gravity.
Okay.
So that means it's at work all the time, everywhere, on everybody.
Okay.
Okay, it doesn't play favorites.
Okay.
It's not occasional.
Okay.
It, like gravity, it's always working. So whether you know it or not, whether you're aware of it or not, whether you're using it intentionally or not, it's still working.
Right.
So law of attraction says we create by our thoughts. That's the short way that people usually put it.
Okay.
But there's actually a lot more to it. We create by our thoughts, our feelings, our intentions, our attitudes, our expectations, our subconscious beliefs. And a lot of times people try to create with their thoughts, but they're not looking at their beliefs, their expectations, their unconscious intentions and all that stuff. So sometimes that's why we don't think about winning the lottery and a pile of money falls in our lap. It takes some doing.
Okay.
But it is a law.
Right.
Think of the law like a fertile ground.
Okay.
We plant seeds by our thoughts. So if I feel that I am prosperous and abundant, the law will return to me prosperity and abundance.
Okay.
If I feel like, oh my God, there's always more month than money, I can't pay my bills each month, that's the experience I'll have.
Okay.
So, like in the latter example, if I feel like I don't have enough money, I will create that experience. But if I change my thoughts, I always have enough money, I can pay my bills easily, my experience will change, even if my income doesn't change. My experience will change.
Right.
Okay?
And then that explains how some people may just get like a random check in the mail.
Exactly.
Or they just like you said, their income may not change, but somehow their needs are met, or their bills are met by some other sources.
That's exactly the way it happens. It looks like magic sometimes.
Right, because I also learned about the law of attraction is you should stop expecting things to come to you in a certain way. Like, oh, I want abundance in my life. I want my bills paid. Automatically, you're going to think, well, I need a new job.
Exactly.
But that may
or
not
I need
be
to get a big raise that's impossible to get.
Right.
Yeah.
But that may not be exactly how it manifests.
Exactly.
So now, what is the science behind the law of attraction?
That's another big, complicated question.
Okay.
Here's where I differ from a lot of law of attraction teachers.
Okay.
I believe there is an absolute science behind law of attraction, and it's quantum physics. It's the way we are coming to understand how physics works.
Okay.
Quantum physics has shown us that reality responds to our thoughts. It showed us that in 1908 with the double slit experiment. Quantum physics has also shown us there's a field of all possibility. And when we put a thought in that field, we collapse all the possibilities to one, and that one becomes our reality.
Okay.
So that's the short answer. I
Okay.
could talk for hours, but I don't want to talk for hours on one question.
Okay. And so there's a science behind the law of attraction. It is a governing law that governs our universe. We are subconsciously attracting, consciously and unconsciously or subconsciously, attracting. Is it everything in our life, or is it just the things that we focus on? You know, how does that work? Are we literally attracting everything in our life, or is it pertain only to some things?
We're attracting everything.
Okay.
Absolutely everything.
Okay.
This is where it gets deep.
Okay.
Before we're born, we set up some conditions of our lives. You know, what country we'll be born in, maybe what race, what gender, what our parents' circumstances might be. So we have created that ourselves. It's not done for us because we all have free will to create our situations the way we want. Then after we're born and as we grow up, we continue to create by our thoughts, absolutely everything.
Okay.
So unconsciously, we might go along with the patterns we set up before birth. But if we look around and decide, you know, I chose to be born into poverty and I'm not liking that anymore, we have the ability to create differently.
Okay.
Now, each person in our lives is also creating their reality. And we co-create together. If there's an experience that one person wants to have that the other person doesn't want to have, we find ways to not be in that experience. You know, maybe we leave that person, break up a relationship or something.
Okay.
But we know telepathically what we're agreeing to, and then we get to choose if we're going to experience this or not.
Okay. So that could even be little things like...
It's everything.
Like you tripping
Exactly.
and spilling coffee on someone, or
Yeah.
all these little things are all based on the law of attraction.
Everything is based on our thoughts and beliefs, and it's mostly our beliefs because our beliefs go very deep. They're subconscious, unconscious. I use those words interchangeably.
Yeah. Me too.
Because I have to say I don't. Subconscious has the idea that it's inaccessible. You know, that there's all kinds of mysterious things going on that are running us that we can't access. I don't believe that at all. And it's in my experience that that is not true. If you have a clear intention that I want to know what I believe about this, or I want to know what program is running me, it'll show up in your conscious. You will.
Because it's just, like, I feel the exact same way.
Cool.
It's very interchangeable, subconscious, unconscious.
Yeah. And they're not as deep and hidden as we have been told by, like, Freudian psychotherapists.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I believe that 100%. So how does this affect us positively, and then how does this affect our lives negatively?
Okay. Both of those are good questions. So let me start with the negative, because I think it's pretty clear to see how it can affect us positively, but negatively. Suppose you have a job and you really hate your job. And so you show up every day and you're doing your best, but you're saying, I really hate my job. I really don't want to be here.
Okay.
You might unconsciously create a situation where you get fired. So that would be sort of a negative kind of thing. The way it affects us positively, law of attraction says we can be, do, and have everything we want.
That's beautiful.
I believe that.
I believe that too.
Sunday, I just did a talk about our limitlessness.
Our
And
infinite
Yeah, every time I say that word, I just get chills. But we have limitless possibility. So we are limited by our imaginations. So when we stretch our imaginations, we can do anything. Anything. I really believe that.
Right, and I believe that too.
So there's no limit to the positive. I mean, I've created new relationships, I've created new cars, I've created new jobs, new clients, new trips, new houses, new puppies, new everything.
Wow.
You know, it's just a matter of being clear about what you want, and then the universe drops it in your lap somehow.
Right. One thing that I noticed that you said was that we create our reality based on our beliefs. Most of it is based on our beliefs. Now, I believe that with our beliefs comes a certain type of conditioning, or conditioning in general, starting from when we were young. So let's talk about how
that's true, yeah.
Right. So let's talk about how the collective belief or the collective consciousness affects our beliefs and affects how we manifest things into our reality.
Do you want to give me a specific example?
So, for me, I feel like a lot of us have some natural beliefs. Like, our entire reality is set up by how we've put a thought into it. This is our world is a thought form. So we've put thought into this about the law of attraction is a thought. Gravity is a thought. So I really want us to discuss how a collective, like maybe a town, let's say a town that is prejudiced, how that can affect people when they're attracting all these different things into their universe. Because a lot of us, I feel like we're talking about the unconscious there. So I feel like a lot of us, we don't even know some of the beliefs that we have that stem from the conditioning that we have from like our parents, the places that we used to live, society in general, and how that is limiting us to really take use of something like the law of attraction, a law like the law of attraction. Even if you don't have an answer, just tell me your thoughts on that. Because I really want people out there to know that you have some beliefs, but a lot of the beliefs that you do have is from how you've been conditioned, not only by society, by your parents. So if you really want law of attraction to start working with you, you have to do some inner work. Some people call it shadow work. You have to do that inner work to really know what are my core beliefs if I want to start manifesting whatever I want. Because let's say your parents raised you up to believe that we don't have money. Money is hard to get. We've always struggled all our lives, and people like us don't get money because of the environment that we live in. Right, and a lot of us do. You know, a lot of people in our communities do, in our culture do. So, let's say your parents raised you up like that, and now you've come to somewhat of an awakening, or maybe you went to a motivational speaker, and now you want to figure out how can I change my life because I hear that I need to change. I hear that things can be better on the other side. Whereas though all my needs are going to be met. I want people to understand how that conditioning from when they were younger, how that affects how they move in their reality and perceive their reality, how that affects the law of attraction, and how they can still be attracting things. Like, for instance, let's say they want this job, but they just don't get it because they feel like they're not good enough for that job. That job is for high earners. I'm not a high earner. I've always been taught that we don't get money easily. So how does our collective conditioning affect how we use the law of attraction? And if you don't have a direct answer on that, I think we should definitely discuss that, because people need to know that there is a conditioning there that are setting a lot of the limiting beliefs that you have. What do you think about that?
You're definitely on target. We are culturally conditioned, much, much more than we realize.
Right.
Cultural conditioning is what we call reality.
Exactly.
We look at it and say, for instance, I can't get a particular job because I'm a black woman. I had that going on with one of my first jobs. Racism suddenly confronted me. But if I hadn't accepted that as a truth, I could have moved past it. What I did instead was I left that job. And this was quite a few years ago. But our cultural conditioning is, think of it as patterning. It's situational patterning. So we expect certain things in certain situations. As a black man, you have certain things you expect. You may expect a certain amount of disrespect when you're with people of other cultures. You may expect to be overlooked in some ways. As a black woman, I have my own issues of being respected. And even, talking about law of attraction, there's nobody else in the world, as far as I know, that looks like me that talks about law of attraction with the scientific background that I bring into it, So right away there's what's the word? Sort of a disconnect.
Okay.
People look at you and go, not quite what I'm expecting,
right.
And then they have to readjust.
Right.
So anytime we're facing cultural conditioning, and it doesn't matter if you're black or white, it's whatever you're believing about yourself, or you're believing about the culture or the situation you're in. It might be a situation of going to get a job, might be a situation of wanting to do YouTube videos and be famous. So whatever it is, whatever you believe is going to hold you back until you realize that you're believing it and letting it limit you.
When I talk about it, I get emotional because people are really held back by some of these beliefs that have been conditioned in us. And I just find I really want to bring awareness to people because it's crazy. So we're going to talk about some strategies to pretty much find core beliefs, and I would say get rid of them.
Okay.
Do you believe that we can totally get rid of these core
absolutely.
beliefs? Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm going to say get rid of them. But let's first talk about your business.
Okay.
So you've wrote 4 books.
I have.
Can you tell us what the 4 books are on?
Oh, let me see if I remember it. They're all about law of attraction. And the thing is, I have so many in the works because there's more than just the other 2.
Give us your favorite book that you have. I want to hear about that one. The favorite book that you wrote in.
I think I have 2 favorites.
Okay.
Okay, so I had 5 books on Kindle, and I took one down because I made it a course.
Oh, okay.
And it's called Where's My Stuff? And it's called that because anytime I tell people that I teach law of attraction, that is the first question they say to me. I've been doing law of attraction, and where's my stuff? Because it's not here. So I wrote a book, and now it's a course about how to ask for your stuff, when not to ask for your stuff, who you're asking for your stuff.
Okay.
What happens if somebody else seems to be getting your stuff?
Okay.
What happens if your stuff isn't coming?
Okay.
So I think that's my favorite, just because it's kind of a fun way to talk about these things.
Okay.
My other favorite, which comes out of probably the next most frequently asked question, I don't believe I create my reality because I wouldn't have created this, and we create everything. It's a law. We create shit. I hope I can say that. I hope you're not offended.
That's
but
fine.
we do. That's called life, and that's experience. I believe that we're actually here on earth, incarnating in bodies to learn how to use our thoughts to create the things we want. So we create a lot of mess just from the beliefs that we've been talking about, the subconscious, unconscious beliefs that we're not paying attention to. The ones that we think are set in stone, we call them reality. It's reality that I never get a break, or it's reality that my boss hates me, or it's reality that I'll get a ticket driving while black.
Exactly.
And none of those are reality.
But you just draw that straight to you when you
if you
like
believe
that.
that, then you draw that, then you have those experiences.
Right. And then it strengthens the belief.
It does. It reinforces it.
It reinforces the belief.
Yeah.
So
the way to change your beliefs, look at the experiences you're having that you don't want. Nobody respects me. Okay, so maybe I'm saying that to myself. I'm going to go to, say, a networking event, and as I'm getting dressed, I'm reminding myself, nobody respects me, nobody pays attention to me. I hand out a business card and everybody turns their back and walks away. So if I hear myself saying that, well, wait a minute, that's not the experience I want to have. Ask myself, what experience do I want to have? Okay, I want to show up, I want to feel confident. I want to feel like people are interested in what I have to say. I want people to ask me more questions when I tell them what I do. I want to feel engaged. I want to feel like I'm having a real conversation and a real connection with people. And I'm going to decide that that's the experience I want to have. when I go out to network. So if I make that conscious choice, that's the experience I'll have.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
Where rather than having the unconscious, nobody pays attention to me.
Right.
You know, because that's just running. It's like the little hamster on the wheel. It's just running and running and running.
Right.
And if I go out with that, then I go out with that.
Right.
You know, but if I change it, and it's as simple as changing it in consciousness. So what you want to do is say, what experiences am I having that I don't like? And it's okay to look at that negative, you know, because if you don't look at it, you can't change it. So, you know, maybe I go to restaurants and I think people, they don't wait on me as fast as they wait on other people, you know, because I'm feeling insecure or something. And if I change that, I want to go out and have an experience where I feel wonderful, where I feel well taken care of, where I feel the server likes me and I like the server, and it's just the most wonderful experience. If I set that intention, that's what I get.
Okay.
You know?
Now, how do people, because some people say that's easier said than done. So how do people get into that kind of feeling and that kind of creating? How do they get into that mode of saying, well, yesterday I was completely depressed. Now I have to kind of create the simulation of me feeling a certain way and me visualizing and stuff like that so that I can experience my reality in a certain way. So how do people, I would say maybe like, how do people get out of that state of like, let's say from like total depression, I know that's like what they call a chemical disorder, but there are people out there that are not diagnosed with depression, but they still may have depressed days. So how do those people get out of that and just feel better?
Well,
'cause I don't feel good. It's hard for me to act like I feel good if I don't. So how do I get out of that?
it's not about faking it.
Okay.
Because that doesn't work.
Right.
So I like to say it's simple but not easy.
Okay.
Because it really is simple. Ask yourself, what experience do I want to have? What experience would I rather be having? What experience, you know, you may not have identified the negative experience yet. So what experience am I having over and over and over again that's not really uplifting to me? You know, what do I believe about when I go to a restaurant? What do I believe about when I network with people? What do I believe about how my boss and my coworkers feel about me? And, you know, you might do it with a pen and piece of paper because our beliefs they're very tenuous. So, you know, I believe this and then it's gone. You know, so write it down. Right. So say you have a job. Well, I believe my boss doesn't like me. I believe my boss is self-centered and I believe he doesn't appreciate anything I do. So you're writing all this down. I believe I'll never get a raise because nobody in this company ever gets a raise. You know, you might be saying things like that. I believe this company is just using people until they use them up, you know, because a lot of people really hate their jobs. Right. So you write this stuff down and then you can look at it objectively and go, wow, you know, I didn't realize that this is what I've been saying to myself, but I really do believe all these things. So then you start looking at them and try to find a reason why they might not be true. Okay. So I believe my boss hates me. No, he doesn't really hate me. I mean, he's just really busy and, you know, he's always moving fast and he's got 100 different projects he's working on and he talks kind of short sometimes. Okay. But I know he doesn't hate me. I don't think my boss appreciates anything I do. Well, he did say thank you, you know, last week. Right. You know, he was quick about it, but I heard it, you know, I caught that. So every now and then he says thank you. You know, so you look for reasons why your beliefs aren't true because they're not set in stone. Remember, we talked about this. They're beliefs, they're ideas you have, and think of each idea as like a little brick. So we take each little brick, each idea, and we build our little walls, you know? So if I can say, well, it's not true that he hates me. It's not true that he doesn't appreciate me. It's not true that I'll never get a raise because I get a raise every year on my anniversary. You start to see that what you've created isn't true. You know, a job where everybody hates you and you're never rewarded.
Right.
So when you see it's not true, then you can say, you know, I want more appreciation. I can see where he appreciates my work. It would really be neat, you know, if he said he appreciated this project I'm working on now. And then you sort of set that up in your mind just by acknowledging, I'd like to have that experience.
Right.
You know, I'd like my coworkers to acknowledge that I help them out a lot. And just by having that intention, you start to bring that into your reality, because you've broken that pattern of I'm never appreciated and I'm just overworked.
Right.
So it's by asking yourself the question, what do I have now? What do I believe about what I have now? And what do I want? It's that simple.
Okay. So what would you say is the first step? To me, it sounds like shining light on the dark area. The first step is acknowledgement. That
The
there
first
is
step-
a belief there.
The first step is, well, I started to say what it was, and then it occurred to me maybe there's a step before that. The first step is, what experience am I having that I don't want?
Okay.
I don't like this experience. I want to change it.
Okay.
So start with that. What's giving you angst? What's giving you agita? What annoys you when you get up in the morning? You know, I'm having an experience of too much traffic as I go to work. Set an intention to have less traffic, and maybe you suddenly find a new route. Maybe your office moves. You know, maybe they stop the construction on the highway that you drive on all the time. But just set that intention. So the first step, I think, is to realize that reality is not set in stone. The first step is start with the idea, I can change this. Okay,
And that's
you
anything.
say anything, everything,
Anything.
anything.
Chronic disease.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't like this. I can change it. Okay, so how am I feeling about it right now? Okay, list all the negatives. How do I want to feel about it? It's that simple. But not easy, see?
Right.
And it's not easy because we forget we can change things. That's where we
we
get
think that
caught.
everything is set in stone.
Yeah, that's the hardest part, to believe that we are infinite, that we have all limitless possibility. Yeah.
So you said that sometimes when a lot of your clients are practicing the law of attraction or actively trying to practice the law of attraction, that they may feel like all hell is breaking loose. What did you mean by that?
Sometimes when you start trying to create a different vibration in your life, everything can sometimes seem to go wrong. Things blow up in your face. So I'll give you an example. Suppose I'm a person who has more expenses than I have money. And I'm looking and I can't pay my bills every month, and I'm saying, all right, enough of this. I'm going to manifest more money. So I start doing things like affirmations. You know, maybe I visualize, maybe I pretend that I have more money. I talk to myself as if I have more money. And then suddenly a really big bill comes. And then another really big bill comes. And I go, this isn't supposed to be happening. I'm trying to create more money, not more ways to spend the little bit that I have. That's what I mean by all hell breaking loose. Things seem to be going in the opposite direction.
Okay.
Now, this doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen sometime. So you're here. You have the vibration of it's hard to make ends meet. And you're creating a vibration of abundance. I have enough of everything I need. These are not the same vibration. So you start to focus your attention on have enough, and this vibration gets stronger because this is the vibration you're used to. I don't have enough, it's always difficult. So this vibration gets stronger because it's saying, hey, you're not paying attention to me. This is where I'm comfortable. This is what I know. Struggle is familiar to me. Struggle is part of my identity. And you're trying to say, no, I'm not doing struggle anymore. Go away. I'm doing this now. But the struggle gets more intense because it wants your attention. Just because it's a familiar vibration. So when all hell breaks loose and the things you're trying to manifest, it's like all kinds of bad things that are the opposite of it start to manifest. Like Another example is maybe you're in a relationship with somebody and it's a loving relationship, but it's a so-so relationship, and you say, I want my relationship to be really good, and then that person leaves you, and you say, wait a minute, that wasn't supposed to happen. I was trying to create a good relationship, not no relationship. What's happening is the person leaves because that person is not capable of being a good relationship. So your vibrations of the thing you want, prosperity or a loving relationship, have moved you up, and you're saying, I'm here now. This is where I want to be. The things in your life, the relationship that can only be a struggle, the lack of money that can only be a struggle, after it tries to get your attention and say, come back, if you don't come back, you hold this vibration of love or prosperity, then it goes away. But before it goes away, and you settle into this higher vibration, before it goes away, it tries to get your attention. And that's when it looks like all hell is breaking loose. And a lot of times, when people see things initially going wrong, they stop and they say, this doesn't work. But when you see things going wrong, it's an indication that your vibration has changed. And so you just want to hold that vibration.
Okay, so is it like a process?
It is
to
a
get
process.
into that higher vibration or whatever vibration that
Absolutely
you're trying to get into?
Absolutely it is. Yeah, it's a process, and it takes time for the things in your life that aren't of that vibration to sort of take themselves out of your life so that you can have the prosperity.
So how has the law of attraction affected your life?
Oh my goodness. I eat, sleep, and breathe it. I live it every day. I mean, I get in the car, I intend a smooth trip.
Okay.
I like to say an uneventful trip, an unexciting trip, because nobody wants excitement when they're in the car. I intend everything. I intended how this should go today. When I go to the grocery store, I intend short lines. I intend to find everything I want. It's become a way of thinking and a way of being. So I'm clear about the experiences I want to have. But let me backtrack. I'm not always clear. Because I get caught up in stuff, just like we all do.
You're human.
So I find myself on the hamster wheel of, my life is miserable, I hate it, and I don't know what to do about it sometime. But I always come back. Wait a minute, I don't have to live like this. And then I start to choose, what experience do I want? And when I choose it, I get it. Okay?
What would you say is one of the best strategies we can use to actively participate in this law and create our own realities?
Okay, so, I think I've sort of been talking about that all along.
You definitely have. I hope people has been listening.
Okay, hope you've been listening. So, before you do any exercise, visualization or whatever, the pen and paper, what experience am I having that I don't want? What experience do I want to have? How do I want to feel? What do I want to create? How will I feel when I have it? So then, I think the most effective exercise is called act as if.
Okay, act as if. Okay.
As if you have it. Act as if you have it.
Okay.
So, say you don't have enough money. So, to act as if, it doesn't mean to go out and crazily spend the money that you don't have. You can barely afford your electric bill or something. It doesn't mean to go out and spend that. But act as if you had enough money.
Okay.
So when you're in the supermarket, maybe consider the higher priced item.
Okay.
Maybe pick it up and look at it. When you're shopping, go in the departments that have the products that you never look at because they cost too much, and pretend that you can buy them. You might even buy something that costs maybe $1 more than you're used to spending. Now, I'm not saying $100 more. I'm not saying go out and be frivolous. Here's a story, it just came to me. When I didn't have enough money, I was unemployed. I had a girlfriend, and we would go out for coffee, And this is an old story, so it was before coffee cost $3 and $4 a cup. Coffee cost $1 a cup. But we would go out for coffee, and I would buy her coffee. I'll say, I can get this for you. I did not have an extra dollar. An extra dollar felt like a big stretch to me. But for me to say to her, I'll buy your coffee today, made me feel so generous and so abundant that just by doing that a few times completely changed my circumstances financially.
Wow.
So that's what I mean by act as if. Okay. A dollar wasn't going to make a big difference between whether I could pay the electric bill or not. So I could afford to buy a cup of coffee and feel really good about myself, feel easy and abundant, and feel like I'm living the way I want to live. And that changed my vibration enough that abundance started to come to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
One thing that we talked about the other day on the phone that I really liked was you said to use your 5 senses or to create a simulation like you're using your 5 senses. And you gave me the example of me wanting to get a job. So can you talk a little bit about that? You said visualize.
Yeah, so you're asking me
Hear
now
your-
for
hear your
another
girlfriend.
exercise.
Yeah, that's
And
another
that's
exercise.
okay,
But I really
yeah.
like that one with the 5 senses. That one really
Okay.
stuck with me.
Okay. So a while back you asked me the biggest problem that people have with law of attraction. And, I have to say there are a lot of problems that people have because it's such a new way of thinking. So we often hear that we're supposed to visualize what we want. Well, when I started doing this, and you didn't ask me how long I've been doing this, but I've been doing this about 30 years.
Okay.
Everybody said visualize. There was a book about creative visualization. I can't visualize. I would get stuck there. I don't see pictures. So then I'd be stuck. I'd be, well, what do I do? It's not working. I don't know how to do this. But then I learned not everybody can visualize. And if we use all 5 senses, that makes it much more real. So, for those who are really listening, and if you're really paying attention,
Which you should be,
You
because
should
this is
be.
good stuff.
But you'll understand. I have a number of teachers. One of my teachers was Seth. Seth came up with the act as if exercise. One of my teachers is Abraham. But one of my other teachers is Neville. So you can look all these guys up. So Neville was the one who really brought home the 5 senses. So if you want to visualize, this is how you do it. So say, typical, you want a new job. You started creating money because you think your boss hates you. Suddenly you got fired. We're sort of following a thread here. Oh my God, I need a new job. What do I do? Again, what experience did you have that you didn't like at your job? They didn't appreciate me. They gave me too much work. They didn't have any good coffee. That's something I always look for. I look for good coffee in the office.
You should have told me. I would have had some here for you.
No, don't worry about it. So what didn't you like? What experience do you want? I want people that say thank you when I do a good job. I want coworkers that I laugh with. I want an easygoing environment. I want windows. I want green plants. I want a company that takes pride in its work, not a company that feels like they're ripping people off. So, notice that we haven't said, I want to be a such and such. We haven't named a title, and we haven't named a company. We've just talked about feelings that you want to have in a job. I want to look forward to going every day. I want to be exuberant when I get my paycheck. I want to say, wow, these people really like me. So we're talking about feelings that we want to have. So say, you haven't narrowed down a job title or a company, but you get an interview and you want this job. How do you visualize to get this job? Neville says, see it done. So you don't visualize yourself getting the job. You visualize yourself having gotten the job. So what might happen after you've gotten the job? Well, you might see yourself shaking hands with the interviewer, and he says, "Welcome aboard. So glad to have you." You might see a situation 2 weeks later when you get your first paycheck, and you go, "Oh my God, I didn't know they were paying me this much."
Right.
So pick a time that's after you've been hired, and you see that. You pick a scene after you've been hired, a short scene, 2 minutes. And you want to hear what the person is saying. You want to see who's around you, see where you are. You want to smell anything that's in the environment. So I might smell the coffee coming out of the kitchen if I'm seeing myself in the office. Or I'm seeing the green plants and maybe smelling clean air. Some companies are funky. So you use all your senses. See, smell, hear, taste, touch. What are you touching? So if I'm doing the scene, where I've gotten my mail and direct deposit hasn't kicked in, I'm holding the envelope. I feel the paper. Right. Paper has a smell. I open it. I hear the crunch. Take it out. I feel it. Oh, surprise. Oh my goodness, look at how much they paid me. This is great. And then you let that scene go, So that's where you bring in all the senses.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And that,
I'm going to start doing that.
That
Seeing,
changes things.
Touching, hearing, smelling, feeling, all of it.
And, like you may not have all of them. Like in the scene where I'm opening the check, there may not be anybody else there. Or if your boss is shaking your hand and saying, "Oh, you're excellent. You're the best person we've hired this year." But you just bring as much of that in. Don't get anal about it. Don't say, "Oh my God, I need to bring in something to smell. I don't smell it."
Right.
Just be easy about it. Don't make it work. Don't say, "I have to do this 10 times a day." Do it when you think about it.
Okay.
And if you don't think about it, then just assume that the universe is working to manifest it because you set that intention.
Okay. So how many times daily, let's say I have a job coming up next month, how much time out of the day do I want to take to do a practice like this?
Maybe do it 2 minutes in the morning, 2 minutes in the evening.
Okay.
You don't have to do it a lot.
Okay.
If you really get that feeling. And the thing is, after you do it a few times, you'll get a very clear feeling, I don't need to do this anymore. And that's when you know it's done. Yeah. And that's such a good feeling. It's like, this is done. It's coming. Right.
So I think that's going to be it for our show. Lorna, I want to thank you so much for coming on and sharing your experience with us and your expertise. Is that going to be it for Law of Attraction? Do you want to say anything else? Leave anything with us?
I want to offer everybody who's watching a gift. I have a checklist. It's beautiful. I designed it myself. But it's all the things you need to think about to create with Law of Attraction, to create for yourself. It's a 1-page checklist. Absolutely free. And you can download it at, I'll say it first and then I'll spell it. Tiny Earl. Actually, let me pick it up. TinyEarl.com LOA checklist. So that's spelled TinyURL.com /LOA, like Law of Attraction, LOA checklist. And you can get your free checklist there.
And you guys are actually going to see that in the description below and also at the end of this show. Like I said, Lorna, thank you for coming on. I want to thank you so much for coming on and sharing your expertise with us. You guys like, rate, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think about the show. Let me know how this show has affected you. Let me know any questions that we can forward to Lorna and she can get back with us.
I'll be happy to answer any of them.
She'll be happy to answer them, and she has her own information I'll be having on the description below. I want you guys to take this information. If you did not hear everything in the video, go back and watch it again because the Law of Attraction can definitely work for you. And I think we did answer the question, we can get whatever we want.
Absolutely we can.
Right?
Anytime. Yes.
Exactly.
And if you're having difficulty with it, get in touch with me.
Get in touch with her. She has a website. She's done so many amazing things. She has books, so she's definitely a source, a major resource for the law of attraction. So that's going to be it. Like I said, like, rate, subscribe, and comment. Stay tuned for my next video. It's going to be next Sunday at 10 a.m. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.